Hello everyone. Today I would like to show a marker technique that will boost your confidence. Especially if you're an inexperienced sketcher, you might end up making a lot of mistakes when constructing your object, such as lines won't be going to the right vanishing point and you have to draw a couple more lines to get it right, and as a result end up having a messy drawing. And I'm imagining that you want to have a cleaner sketches with no mistakes. So in this technique, what we are doing is we are constructing our object with the lightest shade of gray, such as a T1 in this case. If you want, you can use warmer gray or cooler gray. And afterwards, you're adding the shades with T1 and T3. And finally, with your fine tip pen, you're going over those edges and creating a focal point. And once you add that fine tip pen, all those parts that was drawn with light gray won't be visible anymore, and your audience will be only focusing on the black ink part rather than the light gray areas. All right, so I have some couple of examples. This is a photocopy machine. Again, I created this basic geometry out of T1 marker, and then afterwards I added these details and then shaded with T1 and T3. And finally, I'm creating a focal point with using my fine tip pen. So that way my audience is only focused on this area and these areas are appearing more blurry. So there's no need to focus on the paper tray part and the paper compartment. I want my audience to focus on this main compartment. Here's another example, another photocopy machine. And again, I'm creating this main shape with T1 and adding the chamfer, the radiuses, etc. So, and since it's a very complex form, it is creating a lot of construction lines. But since it's made out of T1, those areas won't be visible once I'm adding that fine tip pen and creating this focal point. All right, so maybe we can sketch one of these photocopy machines. I will start with the main box, which is going to have 3:2 proportions. So this is going to be the front edge of my photocopy machine. Its width is going to be about 2 units, and its length is going to be about 3 units. So the angle between those two lines will be around 120. Make sure that your lines are converging. If you make mistakes, as I said, try to fix it, such as, let's say I made my box a bit short. I want to extend this. So I want to change its proportions. And then I'm going to add the chamfer here. It's going to be 45 degrees, about that big. And I'm going to find its footprint on the other edge. And maybe I can add this small box at the top where the cover is going to be. And there's a small power box at the end, so I'm extending that line. This top rectangular surface is going to be slightly angled. About that much. And we're going to have a radius over here at the front. It can be that big. So my radius has to be tangent to those two lines. And from here, I'm drawing a straight line going up, and from there, again, doing the same thing. So which means my radius will start here and finish there. And again, it has to be tangent to those two lines. And I have to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm extending this point and finding its footprint roughly here, and it's going to be about the same size and tangent. And this point will go up and touch this edge, and this point at the back will go up and touch that angled surface. And now, again, similar to what I have done on the other side, I'm drawing a tangent curve. So once I create that radius, I have to connect these two tangent curves with a straight line. So that's my new edge. Okay, so maybe we can add some details at the top where the cover is. So first of all, it's going to be trimmed like this. And we're going to have a paper tray right here. It's going to be about that wide. And it's going to be about this long, so that an A4 size paper can fit. And of course, it's not going to sit flat. It's going to be angled, maybe 30 degrees. So if it was wide open, if it was 90 degrees, it will be appearing something like this. So if it's that much, it will be about that much here. So same distance. But I want it 30 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect these 2 points with an arc. Just like that. Now I'm deciding the angle of the tray and finding the intersecting point where the arc is. And from that point, I'm drawing a line towards the vanishing point on the right-hand side. So, and I'm connecting this point with that point. So that will give me that paper tray. It's going to have this gap here. So that's where the paper goes in. What else we have? Maybe we can have a small chamfer right down here. And we will have another paper tray in the front. So that paper tray will be starting from here. So I want my paper tray to be symmetrical. That is why I'm finding the center point. And then drawing that symmetry axis. So, and the paper tray is going to be about that wide. So make sure that you're using the symmetry axis, otherwise your object won't look symmetrical. This is where the paper goes in, so that's why that edge will be visible. We're going to have a lid here, so in case the paper is jammed, we can open that lid, that cover, and remove the paper. And what else? We can have the logo here, another logo down here. And we can draw the part line for the cover. And the display can be somewhere here. It has to be perfectly parallel to that edge. So make sure that you get the angle right. And it can have a keypad. I'm creating a grid for that keypad. And a few more buttons. And maybe we can put a handle down here. So it's going to be right in the center of this area. Again, I'm drawing these two diagonal lines to find the center point. And the handle is going to be right there. And that edge will be visible. What else? At the center over here, I'm going to raise that surface a little bit and create a triangular surface. And it will go straight like that. And again, it will be triangular. And maybe we can have a USB port right where the radius is. That radius is going to be similar to the one at the bottom. So I'm going to carve that area. And that's where the USB stick goes in. Yep, and that's pretty much it. Now we can add the shade. I will start with T1. And first I have to decide where the light is coming from. So in this case, it's coming from left-hand side, which means this side is going to be appearing darker. I'm going over those edges. And afterwards, I'm adding the first layer. And if you want it to appear darker, you can add the second layer to add more contrast. And finally, you can go over those edges to tidy up. And maybe we can put a few shades on the radius. So this side of the radius is going to appear darker than this side. So I'm putting more T1 here than this side. What else? The LCD display could be T1. This part of the paper tray could be T1. This part is going to be appearing darker where the paper goes in. And I will darken further with the T3. And let's see if we need any more T1. So maybe I can switch to T3. With the T3, the bottom edge of my printer will be appearing darker. I can fade out that shadow a little bit more. This side of that USB port will be appearing darker. And it has to be consistent here, so that's why I'm darkening this part with T3 as well. even that small triangular surface where the handle is going to be T3. And there's going to be a small surface here showing the material thickness, so that's going to be T3. And apart from that, maybe I can put some reflections with T3. This side is going to be appearing darker, so it's just going to be some random glare. And this edge where the lid is, where the cover is going to be appearing dark. And that line continues over here. So we're going to have this part line right there. And this part is a gap, so it's going to appear dark, the area where the paper goes in. What else? This paper tray will cast its shadow on the surface. Therefore, this part is going to be appearing dark, something like this. Maybe we can fade out. The part lines over here will appear darker. And I believe that's all. Now I can switch to point to pen and start creating that focal point. So I want my audience to focus on this front part where the control panel is. The rest of the object is not necessary, not important. And I will first go over the outer contour lines. So again, I'm going to apply the line hierarchy. The outer contour lines will be appearing darker than the inner contour lines. And then if there's a cross section, they will be appearing the lightest. So this is an outer contour line. And this is also outer contour line. And it's going to appear darker than this one because it's not receiving any light. There's a radius here. And there's a part line where the paper tray is. There's this inner contour line. This is the paper tray. There's a part line. Another part line here. There's a radius going up. And same here. The handle part. Maybe we can put some rubber feet here. What else? There's a part line here where the cover is. That's an outer contour line. And this is the inner contour line. And maybe we can trace the display. There's a double line here. And the buttons. And keypad. And maybe the USB port. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want, you can go over every single edge. But as I said, I want my audience to focus on only this side, the front bit. So yeah. If you have any questions about this technique, please do not hesitate to ask. You can use the comment section. But it's a very simple technique, very intuitive. So as I said, it will boost your confidence. So you can start with this simple exercise where the boxes are, and then first sketch with the T1, then afterwards add the shades with the T1 and T3, and finally create your focal point using the fine tip pen. All right, so hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and hope to see you in the next tutorial. Have a wonderful day.